Welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me today. I'm Debra Eckerling, goal strategist, book proposal specialist, podcaster, obviously, and author of Your Goal Guide and 52 Secrets for Goal Setting and Goal Getting. You can't reach your goals on your own. You need your people. So every week I bring in some of my people to talk about the topic of the week. And yes, today we are talking about lunch. Now, one of my podcasts is Taste Buds with Deb. So if you know that, it is not a surprise. And the fact that all three of today's guests are previous Taste Buds with Deb guests, not a surprise at all. But I was looking, and it is this really obscure lunch holiday today, April 13th, if you're watching it live. And it is, gosh, I wrote it down somewhere. And let's see if I can find it. Yes, it is Make Lunch Count Day. So you might be watching this as GoalChat Live on Monday the 13th. You might be watching the replay, or you're listening to us as the GoalChat podcast on the Marketing Podcast Network, which is, again, not today, but sometime in April or beyond. But I love this idea of lunch as a sacred time, because everybody always says breakfast is the most important meal of the day, or dinner time is when you gather together. And I feel like lunch really gets the shaft. So whoever made up this holiday, I thank you. I think it's going to make for a wonderful conversation. And so today I've got three wonderful guests who are all food and food adjacent simultaneously. We have Marisa Baggett, chef, who's a cookbook author, who is just she's been on before as well. And I just love your spirit and your enthusiasm with which you go into any and all of your projects. So really thrilled to have you here. My friend Beth Ricanati, who we were talking before we went live, I did a Jewish bucket list series in 2019, and she was my baking a challah experience, and we've been friends ever since. And she's got not only braided, but a new book coming out in September. So really excited to have you in the conversation. And then we've got Jessie-Sierra Ross, who is a cookbook author of Seasons Around the Table. And also her website is Straight to the Hips Baby. And she is also one of the 60 achievers interviewed in 52 Secrets for Goal Setting and Goal Getting. And like I said, all of you, you've got this passion, this enthusiasm, but more importantly, you've got lives in and outside of cooking. So I knew you would have something amazing to contribute to the conversation. But before we dive into that, I feel like the only thing people know about you all is you're awesome, which is true. But I feel like we can give them a little bit more. So Marisa, please share who you are and what it is about this conversation that you're like, well, heck yeah, Deb, let's chat lunch.
Well, so my two truths and a lie question that people always miss is that I am actually a professionally trained sushi chef, and and trained in Japanese cuisine. And what I love about this conversation and so excited about is that, unlike a lot of cultures, Japanese culture really dives into lunch with like the whole bento box experience. And so I'm so excited to talk about this and to see what everybody else has to say as well.
Well, it's going to be fun, if nothing else, because that's sort of like a requirement, right, for GoalChat.
Yes.
So fabulous. I sometimes feel like we should be recording the pre-chat because we had as much fun before we even kicked off. Oh, I like to go alpha. So excuse me, Jessie. Beth, welcome.
Hello. I was so excited when you tapped me for today because I feel like I can wear a couple hats at once in this conversation. I'm an internist by training, and in particular, I spent a lot of my time focused on women's health and also on lifestyle medicine. And lunch is where it's at. Lunch is the opportunity to just really not only have a great meal and take a break, which we all need, and take a moment and be present, but we can actually get some of those nutrients that we also need. So I can't wait to hear what everyone has to say about
Fun. Okay, and last but certainly not least, why is it not moving you over to here? Okay, we can do this. We love technology. No, really. Seriously. Well, Jessie, just start talking and we'll get
I can
you.
just talk from the little box. Hi guys, I'm Jessie-Sierra Ross. I'm a former ballerina, professional ballerina turned cookbook author, TV food personality, blogger, food photographer, and stylist. Pretty much you name it, I do it. I'm self-taught, and very much a performer at heart. Hey, we did it.
There you
I'm in the
go.
big screen
I
now, so
had
I'm ready
faith
for
in
my
me.
close up. But yes, lunch. So lunch for me is the meal. After many, I want to say decades of being very sparse with my intake until dinner time, because as an active performer, you can't really load up on a lot of foods because it's very weighing down. Plus, you have to be very careful with your calories as a performer. That's
Okay,
when
wait,
you
Jessie, you
yes,
didn't tell
yes.
them what you did before you became this.
Oh, I said professional ballerina,
Oh,
didn't
you
I?
did. Okay, good.
I think I did. I mean, I can do something if you want. Um, but yes, professional ballerina from the Boston area, and I spent about 20 years doing that and teaching and coaching, choreographing. But everything is so jam packed during the day, and when I transitioned to becoming a food creator, all of a sudden I had time, space, and the need for lunch. So I'm really, really excited for this because lunch, with a close second, brunch, is my favorite meal of the day.
Does it feel like cheating that you said brunch because that's a kind of like a hybrid meal? It's okay. I mean,
I
I'm
don't
okay with
know. I
it.
mean, it's eating like anywhere between 11 and 1. It can be lunch. I mean, let's not parse it out.
Well, yes, because uh, and part of why I like lunch so much, as someone who's just I worked for other people for years, and as a goal strategist, I'd be like, it's an opportunity, even if it's a couple days a week that you do something for yourself, or you have a meal, but um, or you have a meal with a friend, or you work toward your goals. Even if it's like 1 or 2 days a week, it's more than most people do. But it is, as someone who, again, works from a home, now I see it as a forced break throughout the day to take a walk, to go to the kitchen to make something. And I believe lunch really does add balance to your life. And when I put the panels together, I had a feeling that you all were like keen on the topic, but until you did your intro, I did not realize just how good I did by putting you all together. So, and I feel like we should just dig a little bit deeper into the question of what makes lunch so special. So, Beth, what does that for you?
It's a couple of things, Deb. What makes lunch so special is not only the food that I'm eating, but that I'm, to your point, taking the time. I really, I don't necessarily like a big lunch, but I like to make something really, really yummy. And it's an opportunity that I can think about what I talk about in my practice. I can eat the rainbow. And I love to do that. I love to open the refrigerator and see what's there and try and use something up, but cover this, but make it fun, make it healthy. Just check a lot of boxes at once. I find that fun.
Okay, and I know what you mean by eat the rainbow, but will you, in case you're someone who
Yeah.
doesn't, share
Oh,
what that means?
of course. So fruits and vegetables are your friends, my friends. We're 5 servings a day, and it's hard to get. Most of us don't get enough. And so when I look at what I'm eating today I had my favorite lunch, which is a bowl of whatever. And so today that was carrots, because we had some carrots. It was some leftover shelled edamame. It was a leftover hard-boiled egg, because we had farmers market hard-boiled eggs. I could go on about farmers market eggs for this whole hour. And what else? I mean, there was a pickle. There was just like odds and ends, but it was so beautiful. And so first of all, I love that. I get to make something really pretty. I get to make something really healthy. I know that I could geek out on all the medical stuff for a minute, but like I'm getting, protein and fiber and phytonutrients and all these great things. And it took me less than 5 minutes to make. Didn't cost me anything because I was using up what I had in the fridge. And it was so good. And then I'm happy. And then I can go back to work or do it, whatever. And I like that. I like that a lot. I work from home as well most days. And as you said, Deb, it's such a great way to just take a break. And then I try and layer on that sort of health piece, and makes me happy.
And Jessie is all about making food pretty, so I'm going to let her go next.
Yay. You make sushi and, well, no, that's Marisa, but yeah, anyway, sorry.
Well,
Right.
that is also pretty food, but basically
Yeah.
her book, Seasons Around the Table, is as much about the tablescapes as it is about the food itself. So,
Oh, fantastic.
Jessie.
Thanks, Deb. I think I work from home like everyone else here. And, I go out to do my shoots and my prep and, TV work. But when I'm home, lunch is that moment where it's blocked off every day. It's a non-negotiable for me because breakfast might be a little bit on the fly. It's always had, but it may not be as nutritious and dense as I would like. But lunch is always there. And for me, I'm always recipe testing. I'm always doing a shoot where I'm making food really pretty and lots of sauces and flowers and herbs. And, some days it's the test runs from the shoot that I eat because I use only real food in my photographs. No, shaving cream, whipped cream, or mashed potatoes for ice cream. It's all real food.
Do
And we
people
work
do
very
that?
quickly. Oh,
Yes.
yes, very much so. And it's
That's
common.
so disheartening. I didn't know
It
that.
hurts. Or they leave the food out too long. I mean, let me tell you stories of roast chicken that's actually not roasted. It's par cooked and it has like gasoline or soy sauce on it. I mean, it's
No.
horrifying. The Jewish babushka in me. This is my feeling is that you make real food, you eat real food. So on shoot days, I have a pretty little bowl. I have gorgeous little yogurt, granola, and fruit. I might have a little piece of galette with a little bit of quiche. But a lot of days, I actually go back to my roots. And I do, especially in the colder weather, we're just starting the transition here in this house. I do a lot of thick soups. I love full bodied, full of vegetable, good protein like roasted chicken, maybe odds and ends of beef short rib or, flanken, something that's has a bit of fat, a lot of protein, carrots, celery, onions, the whole mirepoix, every aromatic, every vegetable that I can get in there. Because for me, being a woman of a certain age, I need those nutrients more than ever. I may not be as active as I once was, dancing 12 hours a day, but my body still has major requirements to keep doing what I'm doing and doing it in a way that I'm healthy, but also happy because no one wants a hangry photographer or coming onto a TV set and being like, get away from me. No, I have to be social and on and ready to perform. So lunch for me it's just an absolute, it's a non-negotiable.
I'm seeing a bowl theme here, and I have a feeling that Marisa is going to yes and it. Am I correct?
Yes. Yes, because, for me, the biggest thing that makes lunch so special is the fact that for most of my career, it was not a thing. I've spent, years in the kitchen, working in restaurants and catering. And, we don't have, as chefs in most kitchens, we don't have the culture of sitting down to eat. It's like you're there to work. And the irony is that you're there making all of these beautiful, wonderful things for everyone else. But, maybe you get a bite of this while you're running around because, you're too busy to eat. And so as I got a little older, I realized that, I can't make it through an afternoon without having a nutritious lunch. And so for me, lunch is non-negotiable, and it also needs to feel special by being in something pretty, whether that's like, my one of my cute little bento boxes, or whether I take the time to put something in like a nice bowl and just cover it and take real silverware, that's non-negotiable. But I am, if
What a good
I'm
idea.
out doing catering or something, I'm going to take that time to take that break because I feel like it's like a gift that I give myself. And then, and that gift of nutrients and just, taking the time to just kind of take a beat. It also helps me, go through the afternoon better. I'm not hangry. I'm not like wanting to, go Gordon Ramsay on anybody because, I have more, stability after having that nice meal. So.
Okay, and Meryl, who's watching live, says bowls for the win. Absolutely. And thank you for joining us live. We also have Leanne watching live, who I believe got here because of Meryl. So thank you all. And if you are tuning in live, share what you put in a bowl for lunch, right? What is it? And the joke used to be, because I am a former non-cook, is even I could only cook things that were round. So pizza, pancakes, and I could make salad because it was in a bowl that counted as round. So, we all have our talents, but I love the inadvertent round bowl theme found its way here. And prioritizing it, especially when you're working in or around food, I would imagine that's really difficult. And it must have been quite a mind shift. When was your aha moment, Marisa, when you're like, okay, this is not working for me. I need lunch.
Yeah, so I actually, back in 2021, I actually got really sick. And so I took a few months off before I went back to catering. And when I went back, the aha moment was forced. Like there was no way that I could not eat lunch. If I was going somewhere and, maybe I would arrive at like 9 o'clock after having had breakfast and, I wouldn't be done until 6 or 7. Like it was necessary at that point. And I even remember at the time that, in these kitchens, I would say, oh, I'm going to go outside and, have a break for a minute. And they're like, you don't smoke. And I'm like, no, I don't smoke, but I'm going to go and have lunch. And the fact that people were just kind of like, you're going to do what? Like, you're going to go outside and eat? Like that was really weird. It just wasn't a part of the kitchen culture. Go outside and have a smoke, sure, but go outside and like eat lunch, like it was kind of frowned upon.
It sounds really odd that we need to normalize taking a break in the middle of the day, whether or not what you do is work in a kitchen. Because I did the corporate thing for many years, which a lot of people are like, really, Deb? I'm like, yes, really. I wear pants and nice shirts and heels and everything. But it was very often we would have like a work thing or a deadline or whatever. And when you work for other people, they expect, I always said, what bothered me the most is that the bosses always said or thought it should take you as long to do a thing as it took them to ask you to do the thing. And when it wasn't like magic, they're like, what's taking so long? Well, it's going to take me. I was director of communications, and we did physical presentations at the time. It takes a while to make 20 books, right? So you would have to. But that was also where I saw there were so many people commuting to a job that they didn't like. And I was fine. I mean, I had the best job in the most boring field ever. But people commuting to a job they didn't like, it's like, where's your joy? Well, if you need the job, then you find your joy throughout the day. And part of how you do that, yes, I brought it back to lunch. There you go. Was there an aha for you, Jessie-Sierra? A lunch aha?
Yeah, so it was an aha. Similar to, I think, chefs in the kitchen, on their shift, dancers don't eat. Oftentimes it's a cigarette and a coffee outside after class. You're lucky if you eat a yogurt. It's a power bar sort of afternoon. You were doing great. I think for me, when I retired and suddenly found myself the mother of a couple of kids and having to set a good example for my children too, like steady eating habits, healthy eating, how to nourish yourself. That for me was a big aha, realizing that yes, I had that modeled for me when I was growing up, but peer pressure and the need to succeed in your chosen field, that sort of idea faded away for me, and it was very, grazing. I didn't
Mm.
eat until the evening, typically 9 or 10 o'clock at night, and that's a long time. So for me, it was motherhood. It was suddenly being in charge of meal planning, meal structure, and making sure that not only are these meals nutritious, but also that they taste good. And that was such a big impetus for me to even start learning how to cook and creating my blog. And that kind of just led to everything else, is that it's that amazing urge to nourish. And it doesn't matter if it's you, your kids, your friends, your coworkers. That's what pushes me to not only enjoy lunch, but teach people how to make those lunches.
Amazing. So you were like kind of forced into lunch.
Yeah, same way as I was never a morning person. I was forced to be a morning person when my kids would get up at 4:30 in the morning. We watched a lot of Caillou. Um, no, I mean, I was a night owl. I was not someone who prioritized that in my life. But I think for someone to be healthy and well balanced, and in this day and age where there's so many more demands on us now, it's not just we go to work, we take the bus home, and then we have our dinner and we go to bed. You still have, your whatever you brought home from work. You have you socializing, you have crises, you have your children, you have homework, you have doctor's appointments. If you're not fueled to go, especially with that midday meal, as Marissa said, like, you're going to run out of steam. And
Mhm.
that's that. You're going to be useless. So it's partially a selfish endeavor, but it's also a community. What is it? A mitzvah? I will be nourished so I don't bite someone's head off.
Yes.
It's all about the selflessness, right?
Oh, totally. I mean, yeah, totally.
Okay, so Beth, as a physician, were you always pro lunch? I would imagine your life was really busy back when you were a doctor all
Yeah,
the time.
yeah. I didn't get um, really focused on making sure I ate lunch until I was actually pregnant, because I got sick when I was pregnant and I had to eat to be able to function. And so then I was very conscious of making sure I had lunch. But I didn't think about it as a nutrition powerhouse until much later. I understood about the 3 meals a day with the kids. I understood about family dinner. It took me longer to appreciate lunch. And it was probably not until I was doing the work that I did in lifestyle medicine that I really understood, oh, I can make this pretty and healthy and fun and easy and cheap and all of these wonderful things where I find myself now, having my bowls every day that I love. But it's been a journey to get here. Yeah.
Are there things that you all do during lunchtime, air quotes, in addition to eating, or is it just a
Yeah.
sacred prepare and eat?
I wish it were that. That's a good goal.
Yeah.
I'm going to work on that.
Yeah, I always think in my mind like lunch and then some kind of, foray into nature, but if I'm getting the lunch, then, we're doing we're doing good. So I just focus on making sure I have lunch.
Okay. But I think that that's, the whole point of Take Back Lunch Day is to say, okay, I'm going to use this time to prepare. I was so happy. I had a very rare empty day on Saturday and I cooked. I made chicken soup, I made veggie broth, and then I made carrot soup from the veggie broth. And as long as the Instant Pot was dirty, I made hard boiled eggs. And I was so ridiculously happy because it was just me at one with the food. Because during the week, for me, it's okay, what's in the fridge to prepare and intentionally not work while I'm eating, right? That I think is the secret, is to intentionally not work while you are eating. Etan Barnett, who is a 20-something celebrity chef, in 52 Secrets, what he does is he watches an old sitcom like Veep. That's his productivity tip, because if he sits and he eats and he watches TV, then he doesn't feel like he needs to go back and scroll. He's just re-energized into getting back to work. So
That's cool.
I love the idea of watching. It doesn't even need to be a walk in nature. It could just be watching TV, doing something to turn down your brain so you are ready to like face the rest of your day. What about your favorite lunch recipes? I mean, you all kind of dipped into it, but is there something that you know whenever you make it, it's just going to make your life so much better? For me, it's chicken soup. You know, I have to make it at least, I'd say at least once a month. And if I don't, I'm like, what's wrong with my life? Oh yeah, I haven't made chicken soup in a few weeks, even in the summer. So what is that for each of you?
Soups are a big one for me, but I think for me I love vegetables, but I sometimes don't take the time to prepare them. I feel like, oh man, I just grab like I'll make some scrambled eggs and call it a day. But when I make, I have this wonderful creamy basil yogurt dressing that's all fresh ingredients. It's packed full of fresh basil and it's good on everything. Then I know I'm going to eat well because I can make that salad because I want the salad. I'll take the leftover salmon, put it on the salad. I'll get some pumpkin seeds. I'll get some cucumber. I'll get the avocado. Like it inspires me to create flavor combinations, sort of like that movie Ratatouille when he's eating the cheese, eating the strawberry. Like that's how I run. I'm like, oh yeah, sensory. I love it. Let's do it. Texture, spice, flavor, fats. Yeah. If I don't have something that's exciting to me, I'm less likely to reach for it. And it doesn't mean that it has to be this huge, I don't know, think of the fanciest souffle that you can think of. No, it doesn't have to be that. A good matzo ball soup for me is very exciting, or a nice piece of like smoked salmon. I love that on some little wassa bread and, capers and cream cheese. That's exciting. But you have to find something that you want to eat and you want to eat regularly because it's just like any other habit. If you don't enjoy it, or at least you feel good afterwards, you're not going to continue it.
Okay. What do you think, Beth?
My favorite go-tos are taking leftovers and then back to the bowl. But I always have lots of greens on hand. So I'm always turning it into a salad. And then a little bit like what you just said, Jessie-Sierra, of making a really good salad dressing. The one I happen to like is with miso and lemon and olive oil. And then it's just like I want more. And it's always different, but it's rooted in the same. It's leftovers plus greens. Maybe this week it's Brussels sprouts, and next week it's kale, and then it's spinach. I mean, that changes. And then some really great salad dressing that I make. I love to make salad dressings. That's my go-to. That makes me really happy. And also it's just to your point that I'm energized for the afternoon. I have found as I have gotten older that I definitely need, we're basically just machines and we need to give our, we need to fuel give our bodies fuel to work. Right. And I didn't used to think that way. I used to be able to skip for a while. I could go for a long time if I could miss a meal or whatever, but I'm better. I'm more productive. It's all good if I eat during the day, if I have lunch.
And as Jessie-Sierra said, and then you're more pleasant to be around because you're not
exactly. Yes.
Number one benefit of lunch, it benefits other people.
It's for the benefit of all humanity.
Agreed.
So what about you, Marisa?
So I absolutely love a good soup for lunch, but my absolute favorite is leftovers. And I don't tend to reinvent them. I tend to just make a little bit of extra of whatever I had for dinner because I put a lot of effort into what we cook for dinner. And so it almost feels like it almost feels a little luxurious, like, ooh, like really? I get to eat this for lunch, just a smaller portion so that I don't, enough so that I don't go Gordon Ramsay, but not so much where I'm just like, sitting like, oh, I don't want to get up and do anything. But
Mhm.
I just, because for so many years, even with dinner, dinner was, fast food or, French fries from the fryer because, there's no time to make anything. So I really like to put a lot of effort into, taking those leftovers and just, I just arrange them just so, and so when I open up my lunch bag, it's like, oh, look how beautiful. Thank you, Marissa. You're welcome, Marissa.
It's a gift to yourself. I love it.
I love that.
Fun.
When you have a dinner that you love so much,
Mhm.
sometimes you don't want to finish it. So
Right.
I love this forward thinking of, well, I'm just going to make extra anyway because I know it's going to be amazing,
Mhm.
and then I can re-envision it, enjoy it tomorrow.
Mhm.
So that is so good.
Mhm.
So I feel like we need to start this revolution of getting people to take back lunch. So how can people do that, Marissa?
Yeah, I think that, it's always so surprising to me, especially when I'm around other people who don't think about lunch until lunch. It's like every day, lunchtime at some point, whether it's the same time or not, is going to come around. But it kind of, I feel like there's always this surprise, like, oh, it's lunch. What are we gonna do? And it's like, well, I think the first thing that we can do to take back lunch is to realize that it's coming every day. And maybe just have some sort of thought about, okay, maybe I'll bring lunch, or just having a plan around it. But I don't know, maybe it's just me, but I do kind of feel like lunch sneaks up on people.
I think it does. And
Mhm.
like I said before, I was so thrilled. It's like I'm pretty sure I'm typical of non-chef type people. My refrigerator is either packed or empty. It is never in the middle. So when I have the opportunity to do a bunch of things and then certain things get frozen, so I have it to take out, but you need to be in that mentality and you need to
Mhm.
I don't know, put in your calendar, this is a prep day.
Mhm.
And maybe if you're
Mhm.
thinking that you're prepping for dinner and then lunch, because dinner, ooh, big deal, and then you have leftovers.
Yeah.
Okay. What do you think, Jessie?
I think I kind of go down to the mechanics of it. I think that we need to think of lunch and lunch break as an extension of self-care and
Mhm.
prioritize that feeling of saying, yes, I will get right back to you in 30 minutes. I am not going to work through lunch. I'm not going to take that phone call unless it's, someone you really love and you want to talk to them. If it's something that is not going to give you pleasure or make you relax or give you, like, I'm a big believer in finding that mental space just to be quiet. The
Mhm.
world is very chaotic and there's so many push pulls happening that, lunch is a great excuse to sit down. It's a great excuse to say to not someone in a rude way, but say, this is my time.
Leave me alone.
And I
I'm
mean, leave me
eating.
alone. You were talking about what do you do during lunch? I'm like, I listen to music, I scroll, and I read a book. But for me, it's almost as good as a nap in that way of restoration. Because if I don't get that moment where I'm always on. I always have to be talking to someone, doing something, making something, preparing for something. And that at least 30 minutes is my time to sit. I have allocated, I am sitting. I have allocated, I am eating. And I'm going to have a cup of coffee while it's hot. And that's
Mhm.
everything in my life. So I think it's just the power of that no and realizing this is important enough for you to say, this is my blackout time. Just for 30 minutes so that you can eat, digest, enjoy, and then get back into that road race.
It's a boundaries thing for sure.
Yeah.
And to
Absolutely.
remember it's a gift to yourself. And as we said before, it's also a gift to other people because you're going to be much more pleasant after you eat. Beth, how do you recommend we take back lunch?
I love the idea of neuroplasticity and the fact that we can change. So I think a lot of people think, oh, I'm not a lunch person. I can't do that. Or, to your point, Marissa, like, oh my God, it's lunchtime. What am I going to do? Or I'm not going to carve out time, Jessie-Sierra. But you can. And you can do it in really small steps. And maybe this week it's that, yes, you have hard-boiled eggs in the refrigerator, a la what you made in the Instapot, Deb. And if it's just a little step at a time, instead of this whole big, oh my God, I have to now eat lunch and I have to get my 25 grams of protein a day and I have to, like, it's too much. But you can start small and it works. And if it doesn't work, guess what? You'll try again. But we can change and we can learn, and it's really easy. And now, especially in 2026, I don't buy the excuses the way I, back in the day when we all started. You can get everything now. You can buy, if you don't want to make the roast chicken to have on hand, buy it, cut it up, and it's in the fridge for a week. You can buy the shredded Brussels. I don't like to cut Brussels sprouts. I finally decided I buy them pre-shredded. Okay. But like, find your hacks, find what you're willing to do, what you're not willing to do, and start slow. Like, I'm not good at carving out the time yet for me, but I'm going to work on that. You guys have inspired me to like actually take lunch. I usually sit with my bowl, but I'm doing, like, I'm not sitting and just, but I'm going to try. But that's the whole point. You can try.
Yeah, and finding your hacks is great.
Yeah.
I mean, and like I said, I make chicken soup probably once a month, and a big reason I make it, not just because I love the chicken soup, but because that way I've got shredded chicken that I can do other things with. And yes, boiled chicken, not very exciting, but it's a base. It's a canvas with which you can make it exciting. So that, I would say my hack is seeing how many different things I can make before washing the Instant Pot. To carve out what is my cooking day and make that the habit. And do you have particular cooking hacks, Miss Chef Marissa?
I have a couple, and I think that one of them is, it's not so much a cooking hack, it's more of a time management thing, because I feel like a lot of times it's like what Beth was saying, you don't have to, it doesn't always have to be so big, but I think that a lot of times it's a lot. You have to go to the store. Well, you have to start off. You have to think about what you're going to make. You have to go to the store. You have to get it. You have to bring it home. You have to put it away. On the day that you want to cook it, you may have to take out the vegetables and process them, wash them, cook them, whatever. So my biggest thing is take away all of the things that keep you from doing that. Make it easy. Like, I try not to go to the store. That is my thing. If I don't have to go to the store, I will order it and have it brought to me. And people always say, oh, but you got to pick out your own vegetables and you got to pick out this. And I'm like, yeah, well, Cisco used to do that for me. So, so it's not something that I'm uncomfortable with. So by the time that the food arrives, I'm not already worn out from having gone out and doing all the shopping things. So when the food gets here, before I put it away, I wash the produce. I go ahead and I blanch some of the vegetables so that they're already there. And if, for some reason I don't have a plan, it takes like 2 seconds to zap it in a microwave and there's food to eat. Instead of grocery, there's a joke in our house. It's like, oh, there's always food in the fridge, but is there food or is there groceries? Yeah. So I have to make sure that there's food, because even if there's groceries, I'll do something with it, but my husband will not. So we have to make sure that there's actually food so that when he goes in the fridge, there's something for him to eat.
That is hilarious. I am one of those people pre-pandemic because I live like 3 blocks from the grocery, and I would go for one thing and I'd end up 5. But the pandemic, when I was getting food delivered, I had to actually make a list and not go as often. And I've actually reverted back because I take walks to get away from the computer, and I still have my list, but I'll just buy one or two things at a time so I don't have to schlep them.
Mm-hmm.
So that would be my hack is, and I love that it doesn't work for you, so you don't do it.
Right.
But that's the way you do anything. You find what works for you, you do more of that, and you stop
Exactly.
doing the things
Exactly.
that keep you from accomplishing.
Yeah.
And hello to Christy and to Coach Carrie who are tuning in. We are talking about our favorite lunch hacks. So if you have one, please put it in the comments. And so Jessie-Sierra, what cooking hack or lunch hack do you want to share?
I'm all on board with the ordering groceries. I am not ashamed to say that that's how I mainly do my grocery shopping, particularly during the off season. If there isn't a farmer's market available or somewhere where it's refreshing and it's something that's pleasant to
Right.
enjoy, you enjoy picking out the tomatoes. Yeah, I don't really need to. I trust my shopper. My hack would be to think simply. So think simple ingredients, big flavors. So herbs, spreads, pickled vegetables. Like I can get 3 meals out of pickled red onions. I can throw it on a sandwich with some nice tomato and manchego cheese and a nice aioli and sourdough bread. I don't have time to make aioli. There is a jar of mayo in my fridge. Okay. Do what is simple, easy, and satisfying. But think about when I was growing up, used to call this peasant meals. I'm a Ukrainian American first gen kid. We grew up with a lot of foods that were healthy, but they were basic but good. Black bread, sourdough, good cheese, good produce, some spreads, maybe some meat, maybe not some meat, eggs. A poached egg can go on anything and elevate it. You put it on some greens with some nice veg, those pickled onions. Again, you have something that's very gourmet and pretty to look at, but it's not going to take you more than 7 minutes to make. And I think for a lot of us, the barrier between taking that lunch, making lunch, or cooking in general is this idea that it has to be at every single mealtime, this bespoke experience. Save that. It's needed. You need to have those moments where dinner is a roast and mashed potatoes and a creme brulee for afterwards. Your lunch doesn't have to be that. It can be as simple as a beautiful piece of bread, a lovely piece of great cheese, some cucumbers, some tomatoes, salt, pepper, you're done. And it's amazing. So simplify. Find 2 or 3 ingredients that you really love, create a mix and match sort of menu, stick with it.
Well, I was just about to say it's time for some goals. And it feels like you've already given them goals, but guess what? You get to give them more. Yay! Well, but this is exactly the point. It's yes, breakfast is the most important meal of the day. You need to start with something in your belly. Dinner is the end of the day where you come together and you prepare leftovers so you can have it for lunch the next day. But what is something simple anyone can do today, tomorrow, immediately to take back lunch, to set some realistic lunch goals? Marisa, what goal do you want to gift?
Let's see, if I had to gift a lunch goal, I would say just to start with something that you just really love. Like find your favorite food, and whether that's you order a second one because you had it at a restaurant and you're going to take it to work intentionally the next day. I guess it's really about intention. Have an intention for lunch. I think that that's a great place to start. It's just having an intention to have lunch.
That's great. And I also like that this even better than leftovers, order 2.
Yeah.
That's fabulous. What about you, Beth? What goal are you gifting?
I want to gift the goal of time. And in this case, what I mean is actually just trying to start by saying you're going to take some time.
Mhm.
Not a lot. Not a lot. It might be 5 minutes, but just try. Try to take some time for lunch and see what happens. See how you feel.
Mhm.
And as a doctor, is 5 minutes enough for chewing and the things?
I mean, ideally, you take a little longer, but you know,
Well, you have to understand. So I co-wrote this book called
Mm.
Active Grandparenting 101, and it's not just about the whole communication, make this new picture, paint this new picture of your multi-generational family. It's about aging well, fitness, eating well. So yes, start with the intention of 5 minutes, but be sure if it's
Right.
only 5 minutes, make the most of those 5 minutes.
right.
Mm.
I mean,
just
ideally, it's not
corrected a
really 5.
doctor.
I just want.
corrected a doctor. I feel
No,
terrible.
no, I love it. I love it, Deb. It's ideally, of course, not just 5, but some people really can't even take the time. So I really would love to gift people the opportunity to think that they could take the time
Mhm.
because they
Yes,
can. They really can.
because most things can wait for you to
Yeah.
finish eating.
Yes. And we don't work well on empty. Again, back to my lovely car analogy, machine
Mhm.
analogy. Like, it doesn't work. So, or as you mentioned, Marissa, about going all Gordon Ramsay. I mean, you have to fill the tank.
Mhm.
So take a little time, whatever that
Mhm.
means for you, and see how you feel, because you probably will feel better.
Mhm.
And then it's the gift that keeps on giving, because then you might do it again.
Yes.
And maybe you do 5 minutes one day and then you do 10 minutes the next day. Before you know it, your habit is taking a half an hour for lunch every day.
Yeah. And the world's going to keep spinning.
Yes, it will. Oh.
There are very
Mhm.
few things that cannot wait for you to finish
Yeah.
eating.
Yeah.
Jessie-Sierra, what goal are you gifting?
Well, the two previous rules were right up my alley, and I completely agree. I think that making the time in your calendar and actually sitting down is a big goal. But I would flip this around. I think that finding inspiration, and I mean that in the recipes. So I would encourage you to go and check out your favorite magazine, flip through, find something simple. I would encourage you to look at each of our amazing guests here today, their websites, their Instagram, their cookbooks, see what we're eating. See if that kind of resonates inside you. Is there something there that you go, oh, remember that creamy basil dressing that Jessie said? I wonder. Yeah, it's in that book, or it's online, or the challah, or the sushi. Like, how do I make sushi rice? Wouldn't that make an amazing base to this lovely, fresh salmon that I have in the fridge, and quickly sear it and throw it on? Inspiration is truly the impetus. We have a need, unless we're falling down on the floor oftentimes. It's inspiration that's going to drive us forward. So definitely check out your favorite food creators, your cookbook authors, your food TV, see what they're doing, and then hit the grocery store or put in that delivery order. Start making, start now. Don't wait, start now.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
usually I will say this after I ask you all to tell people where they can find you, but let's flip the switch on this. So if you go to thedebmethod.com/blog, you will get the recap, the replay, the recipes, and the links to in Beth's is more like culinary memoir, but also the cookbooks from Marisa and Jessie-Sierra and their Instagrams as well. I will do the LinkedIn. Usually it's, their websites, LinkedIn, but we're going to, because it is food, we're going to add the IGs for this as well again. And I am at the Deb Method everywhere on social media, including on YouTube, where you can watch the replay for this and my 2.5 other podcasts I host. Friends, where can people learn more about you, Marisa?
So if you want to if you have interest in sushi and Japanese cuisine, you can find my Instagram. I'm Chef Marisa Baggett, and my website also marisabaggett.com.
Excellent. And Beth?
I am also on Instagram, Beth Ricanati MD, and I have a website as well, and that it is the same, BethRicanatiMD.com.
And Jessie-Sierra?
You can find me on Instagram and pretty much any social media platform at Straight to the Hips Baby. It gives you an idea of how I cook and like to eat. And my website, straight-to-the-hips-baby.com. And I have a free recipe newsletter on Substack called Jessie-Sierra, The Last Bite.
Mm.
We can't hear you, Deb.
Deb, we can't hear you.
That's because I was
Yay.
polite enough to mute myself while I was coughing. Thank you. There's tons of inspiration from each of my wonderful guests today. What final food for thought do you want to leave everybody with? Marisa?
Final food for thought. I love everything that Jessie-Sierra had to say about inspiration. And I think that sometimes people look at inspiration and they get inspired only to become a little deflated because they think, oh, it's too hard, it's going to be too complicated. Just try. That would be my advice. Just try. And if you mess up a little or a lot, it's okay, because that's just part of the process, and you'll learn something in that, and chances are it's still going to be edible and very delicious, even if it's not Instagram worthy.
Mhm.
Okay, and Jessie-Sierra, final thought?
Embrace small ways to elevate. So, one of the easiest ways to elevate and sort of fancify your lunch without getting super fussy is adding fresh herbs and edible flowers. This is my ethos for much of my home entertaining. And it adds flavor, it adds color, but really it brings a heck of a lot of joy to your plate. Just makes you feel happy. So, small things that give you the greatest satisfaction, embrace that with your lunch, whether it's a great PB&J with homemade jam, or if you're going to go all out and get the steak, do it.
Okay, so I'm going to digress before we get Beth's final thought. I love the fact that, because what is it they say, you eat with your eyes first.
Mhm.
So I love the idea that you make lunchtime not just a boundary, but a ritual, something that's like a thing. So Marisa, do you have something like that you do?
I think for me, it's more of just arranging things and making sure that I have strict rules about what I eat lunch in. Like if it's, if like no cheap containers, or paper or the, plastic silverware, unless for some reason I forget mine, use the nice stuff. It's a meal too. And you can have a plate or a bowl, or a bento box if you want.
I love that.
And what about you, Beth? What is it you do? I know you love things in a bowl.
I do. But I, like Marissa said, it's a pretty bowl, and it is with silverware.
Mm-hmm.
And I like to have water in a glass, or, I like it.
Yeah.
I like the tangible, the tactile.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's really important. There's a mitzvah, the Hidur mitzvah, to elevate, make things beautiful. There's a lot. We know we've all touched on that in this hour.
Mhm.
There's a lot to that when you make something a little bit more special, a little bit more elevated, a little bit more beautiful.
And before we get your final thought, you have not said a thing about the ritual of challah, which is what got you from MD to author and challah baker.
Yes, I know. It was quite the hard pivot.
Can you share a little bit about that? Because I think that also goes into the
Yeah,
slow down and eat category.
it does. Actually, I started making challah about 18 years ago, and I found in that practice a way to be more mindful, to be more present, to pay attention, to think about how things looked, to share with others. And that was the genesis for my memoir, which is how we met, Deb. And now I have a new book coming out in September that is a follow-up, The Braided Prescription, that is the based on the over 100 workshops I've done where I've been able to flush out the ideas that worked for me. Surprise, surprise, work for others. So it's 7 practices for living well from the ancient ritual of making challah, because I wholeheartedly think that through this experience of making homemade challah, we can learn a lot, we can feel better, we can lead healthier lives. I'm kind of obsessed with it, actually.
I love it. Is there one thing that you know now that you wish you knew at the beginning of this journey?
No, only that I'm so grateful that I mean, I'm sorry I had to wait till just 18 years ago. I wish I suppose if anything, I wish I'd done it sooner. I didn't appreciate all the benefits. I didn't appreciate the rituals around food and taking time. I love the idea that we can make bread, break bread together, and what that does for us as people, as a community. I think it's incredible.
And Jessie-Sierra, is there something you know now that you wish you knew before you jumped into foodland, as it were?
That we are worthy of the time spent on ourselves. I know that often in our society, anything that's sort of inwardly focused tends to be viewed as selfish when you could be giving to others. But I find that all that time that I had giving to audiences, giving to my family, my guests, my home entertaining, everything, take a little bit of a morsel of that and give it back to yourself. It's you are worth the time. You are worthwhile to take the time to sit down
Yeah.
and eat a good meal prepared by yourself or someone else. And you don't have to feel guilty about taking that time or that meal.
And Marisa, same question. Because you started out in a completely different food way.
Yes. I would just say that being open, I think that a lot of times we can get stuck in like a food rut and like eating the same things over and over again. And, experimentation or trying new things doesn't have to be so big and grand. Like you don't have to, stop being a sushi chef one day just to like go open a kosher deli. Like it doesn't have to be that.
It doesn't have to be one or the other.
It doesn't have to be that dark. It
Way.
could be, just as, as open as just like, trying, an amazing new salad dressing that, becomes like this, force of good for everything, a bowl, a piece of fish. And I think that it opens up so many things when you leave yourself open to trying new foods.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, now that I've managed to really, really digress, Beth, back to you for your final thought.
Oh my goodness. Now I'm just, my whole brain is going. It's buzzing. My final thought, thank you. Yeah, my final thought is eat lunch. I mean, just do it. Just do it.
Because it will not only make your life better, as has been said repeatedly, it will make the lives of the people around you better because you will be happier, healthier, all of the things, right?
Do it for yourself.
Do it for yourself. Well, thank you.
Because then it becomes, it's a generative act.
When you take back lunch,
Yeah.
when you take the time for yourself to eat, it makes you healthier, it makes your life better. And it's something like lunch. Pass it on. Thank you again, Marisa Baggett. Beth Ricanati and Jessie-Sierra Ross for joining me. Thank you all for tuning in and jumping on the lunch train with us today. Take the time, set the boundaries, eat pretty things in something pretty, because you are worth it. Your life is worth it. So go on out there, go for it, because it's lunch and we know you can do it. Thanks, everyone.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.